New versus used cars. Which should you sell as a car salesman? Check it out. Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Corey. Listen, a lot of you are always wondering, as a car salesman, should you be selling new cars or should you be selling used cars? Which one of them are better to sell? In this video, I'm going to be going over the pros and cons of both new and used cars. That way you can ultimately make the decision which one is worth more of your time and which one should you be investing more of your time into selling. So we're going to jump right into it. All right, we're going to do this a little bit backwards. We're going to start with the cons first. Okay, cons. We're going to start with the new cars. The first con when it comes to selling new cars rather than selling a used car is less gross potential. So let me explain this one. All right, when you're selling a new car, because a new car, right, the prices are normally public straight from the manufacturer, right? Your dealer more than likely is advertising MSRP. There's less gross potential in it. As far as when you're selling a used car, you know, you probably get vehicles that you just take in on trade or you buy at the auction. You know, you can take vehicles under market value when it comes to used cars. There's more potential to make gross on a used car than new car. Now, a lot of you, all right, probably just got into the industry, let's say during the pandemic or post-pandemic, and we've been living in La La Land for the last like 2 or 3 years, okay? Meaning that these new cars have been going super high over MSRP. Now inventory is starting to kick in. You know, there's more cars coming in right now. It's not like too much of a shortage of inventory anymore. So things are kind of going back to normal, all right? And in the normal world, in the normal car business, there's less gross potential on new cars, okay? That's why the manufacturer gives you incentives as far as, you know, if you sell X amount of cars, you get incentives for the manufacturer, basically bonuses, because they know that it's much harder to make gross on a new car. And yeah, it's just ultimately you just got less gross potential. Now, second con as far as selling new cars over used cars, it's not much of a con for you as the salesman, but it is a bit for the customer, which then it can make it a little bit more difficult for you to sell. It's simply that higher prices. Needless to say, if you're buying a new car, right, over a used car, more than likely the prices are going to be higher. Once again, due to the pandemic and post-pandemic, prices on used cars were kind of going over new cars, all right, because there was just a shortage of new cars, so that made the used car market skyrocket. That's not real world, that's fantasy land, all right? That's not the real world. In the real world, obviously, common sense will tell you a new car is going to normally cost more than the used car would. All right, so which can make it a little bit more difficult for you to sell if you got somebody that's, you know, stuck on payments or something like that, and you know that on a new car, the price is going to be higher, so ultimately they're just going to be paying a little bit more for the vehicle.
Hey guys, so a lot of you may be interested in figuring out how you can sell more cars or just make more money in general. Listen, DM me the word sold on Instagram at Real Corey Brunette. Once again, DM me the word sold on Instagram at Real Corey Brunette. I'm looking forward to helping you out, see if I can share some nuggets with you. More importantly, looking forward to meeting you. Let's get back to the video.
So now we're gonna get into the cons of selling used cars, all right? The first con, and obviously the most obvious con when it comes to selling a used car, that they're less reliable. All right, now I was a big used car seller, all right? And I got tons of stories as far as used cars. When you sell a used car, you know, you think you did a good job, and the next thing you know, you're getting a call a few days later from a customer telling you that, you know, their vehicle broke down on them, they're having this issue, it stopped with them on the road. I'm like, dang, man, you know, it happens, right? We don't have a magic 8-ball when selling a used car. We don't really know what the car is gonna do, right? We obviously have a safety inspection process, which a lot of the times it goes through safety. We don't know what the customer does with the car, right? I'm not blaming the customer, but we don't know, right? So it's just less reliable overall when you're selling a used car as compared to you selling a brand new car. You know, the car is perfect. It's a brand new car. I mean, it's probably 99.9% is gonna be a pretty good car. It ain't gonna give them any issues. All right, when it comes to selling a used car, kind of gotta pray on it. Hopefully it has extremely low mileage, you know, kind of like new, so that way you know it's still reliable. But for the most part, it's gonna be less reliable, and that's the first con. Second con for used cars is that they're harder to sell. Now, some of you may disagree, but let me explain why I say they're harder to sell. Okay, when you're selling a brand new vehicle, you know the car is perfect. The car doesn't have any scratches. The tires are great. The condition is immaculate because it's literally a brand new car. Okay, when you're selling a used car, you're gonna have things like scratches, right? They're gonna have things that you need to buff out, maybe small dings and dents that you're gonna need to overcome as far as an objection, or maybe you're gonna have to actually get that fixed, which is gonna take away from your gross. The car might need new tires. All of these play a factor into it being a little bit more difficult to sell than a new car. To sell used cars, you're gonna need to be a little bit more skilled than to sell a new car. If you're selling new cars, it's like, okay, what color do you want? What options do you want on a car? You point it to them. You either have the vehicle on the lot or you get it ordered from the manufacturer. You sell them a car. When it comes to selling a used car, you kind of have to work with what you got. You can't just add options out of anywhere from the sky. It's just a little bit more difficult to sell. It takes a bit more skill, in my opinion. Like I said, I was pretty good at selling used cars, so that's just my opinion as far as selling used cars. It's just a bit harder to sell the new cars. So now let's get into the pros, okay? The pros of selling a new car. Let's start with that. The first pro is the opposite of harder to sell, all right? Meaning it's easier to sell. Like I mentioned, when it comes to selling a used car, a new car is just simply much easier to sell. It's like, okay, pick a color, tell me what trim level you want. If we got the vehicle, here's the exact perfect car for you. You know the car is not gonna have any dings or dents. It ain't gonna have any scratches. The tires are gonna be filled. It's gonna have a full tank of gas. It's like, here's what you want, you know, just take it and run with it. And it's extremely easy to sell if you actually got what the customer want. Even financing can be much easier on a new car because normally manufacturers are giving, you know, special rates. As far as used cars, the rates are a little bit higher on used cars. So overall, it's just easier to sell when it comes to new cars over used cars. Not to mention, I forgot the main important thing about a new car over a used car is that it got full factory warranty. Okay, all of this, like I said, plays a factor into it being a much easier sell for you as a car salesman as compared to selling something used on the lot. Second pro for new cars is that they're just simply more reliable. Obviously, a new car is going to be a lot more reliable than a used car. If you sell a new car, you can sleep well at night knowing that a customer is not going to be calling you in the morning saying that their car broke down on them or, you know, their tires are bald or whatever. You know, they're not going to call you with any issues because you sold them a brand new vehicle. You can sleep good at night. The process should be much quicker. Your overall process when it comes to selling new cars is just a lot more predictable. You know that if you sell a car, you can worry about the next customer. You don't got to worry about the customer you just sold the car to because, you know, they ain't going to have any issues. The third pro for selling new cars, and I know a lot of you salesmen are gonna like this one, is the manufacturer bonus. So yeah, I know a lot of you like that, all right? Manufacturer bonus. You get bonuses when you sell a new car as compared to if you were to sell a used car. For every new car you sell, you should be getting a bonus. You get something called like a spin card. I don't know if it's the same everywhere, but I know for me at my store, we got a spin card, which meant that when we sold a new car, right, and for Toyota, they have something called connected services. So that means that when a customer buys a vehicle, you have them create an account with Toyota, all right, on the Toyota app, where they can then connect their car with the app. It's called connected services. Once you do that, you get paid from the manufacturer for doing that, okay? You get a bonus for every new car that you sell. So you get the manufacturer bonus for new cars, which is something you definitely don't get for used cars unless you're selling a certified pre-owned vehicle. Like I said, that's how it was at Toyota. I don't know if it's the same at every other brand. So let's get into the pros of selling used cars, okay? First pro is more gross potential. You're gonna love this. So a lot of you might be asking, Corey, how the heck do you get more gross potential when selling a used car over a new car? I'll tell you why, okay? Once again, when you're selling a new car, prices are normally public, okay? So that means that customers can come in, they already have an expectation of what the car is gonna cost. You'd be lucky if you even get to sell it to them for MSRP in the real world, okay? I'm not talking about the last few years that we just went through. I'm talking about in the real car business. You'd be lucky if you sell it for MSRP. Most customers are getting vehicles below MSRP. When you're selling it below MSRP, you're making a meanie because you ain't making no gross. You're getting a meanie deal, meaning you're probably just getting paid a flat. For used cars on the other end, okay, we get trade-ins. We buy vehicles at the auction, but primarily it's the trade-ins that got the money in them. Why? Because you get an opportunity to take the vehicle under market value. And when you take it under market value, now you can sell it for market value or above market value, and that gives you more potential to make gross on the front end. So the industry consensus is that used cars are where the money is at, right? Over new cars. Most people know that. Like I said, in the last few years, things kind of been flipped on its head to where people are selling new cars for crazy prices over sticker. Used car prices were crazy, so it was kind of a little bit harder to make gross on used cars because dealers were overpaying for them at the auction and overpaying on trade, so you didn't have much room to make gross. But in the normal days, which we're basically there now, we're back to normal, all right? There's more gross potential in selling used cars over new cars. Second pro to selling used cars. Like I said, this one is not really for salesmen, but it's a good selling point for you to hit your customers with, all right? It's less depreciation. If you've been in the car sales business for a while, you know as soon as someone drives a car off the lot, what happens? The car depreciates, okay? Well, one of the good selling points for selling a used car over a new car is that you can tell your customer that the vehicle already took a big depreciation hit, so it's not going to be depreciating much more as opposed to if you were to sell a new car. You know, as soon as that they buy the vehicle, it's going to take a big depreciation hit as soon as that, you know, they start putting miles on the car. Because the minute it drives off the lot, guess what? It's no longer a new car, it's a used car now. The third and final pro for used cars, once again, it's not for salesmen, but it's a good selling point for your customer, is that cheaper prices. So when selling a used car, normally prices obviously are going to be cheaper than selling something brand new. Like I said, in the past few years, once again, prices on used cars were a little bit higher than new cars because there was a shortage of new vehicles. But now we're going back to normal. Prices on a used car are going to be cheaper than new cars. You can help save your customers a couple dollars on their payment. If they are payment buyers, it's just a much easier sell. They're not looking at, $40,000, $50,000 cars when you're selling a new car. Instead, they're probably looking at something that, you could probably sell them for 15, 20, 25K if you go on a used car. Overall, listen, if you want to make more money, okay, if you want to maximize every deal, I'd say sell used cars. So be prepared for the headaches on the other end, okay? It's not much headaches if you work it correctly and you actually sell the right type of vehicles and you kind of do your job. But listen, if you want to sell more cars, you want to push out units, I'd say focus more so on new cars, all right? The right answer is obviously somewhere in the middle. You want to kind of have a good mix of both, but that's basically what the pros and cons are for both new versus used cars. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you want to see next.
Glad you made it to the end of the video. I got two options for you. You can either watch the next video or you can DM me the word sold on Instagram at Real Corey Brunette. If you're ready to take your car sales career to the next level, I'm looking forward to helping you out. More importantly, looking forward to meeting you. I'll catch you all in the next one. Have a blessed day.